Mhm.
Data engineer is to main job of data engineer is to make data available for data analyst and data scientist. Now, if you do it in the cloud, that is cloud data engineer. If you do it not like if you're not doing it in the cloud, then you are a data engineer. So data engineer is to basically process the data, make data ready, clean the data, make the data ready so that it can be analyzed. So that is a data engineer job, and you can do it like in your on-premise server as well, right? So that is the basic difference actually. So data engineer's job is to do the extract, transform, and load. That is the job of a data engineer, ETL developer, or
Mhm.
like make data ready for the analysis. And if you do it on premise, then also you're basically doing a data engineer job itself, right?
Okay, then a question comes that I mean we are cloud data engineer. I mean we are not able to do the job of a data engineer. I mean who works on premises data, right? Because we are using tools for uh, the same thing. Okay, and they I mean the data engineer who worked on premises, they maybe use some other tools or something else. Is that so?
Yes. So
So actually, my question is that uh,
sorry, I'm not able to get your question totally.
my question is that actually, I mean, a cloud data engineer cannot apply for a data engineer job, right? Or I'm wrong?
You are wrong. See, conceptually, everything is kind of interconnected. So when a particular engineer, when a particular person says that, yeah, I am a data engineer. So
Mm-hmm.
here you might be using a data factory as a tool. But conceptually, same thing can be done in AWS as well. Same thing can be done in on-premise as well. Conceptually, we are doing the same kind of a thing. So, like, suppose when we make a full load pipeline, when we make a delta load pipeline, when we try to set some delimiter, when we try to make some lookup, all of these concepts and all of those things will be done in different clouds as well and will be done in on-premise as well. So to load some data, you need some sort of lookup activity which you need to make. So conceptually,
Mm-hmm.
you are doing the same thing, right? So it's not like the tools will be changed, but concepts will be same, right?
No,
So
no,
yeah.
I can understand that point
Hmm.
because the job of data engineer and cloud data engineer are same. Okay,
Hmm. Yeah.
but should I apply as a data cloud data engineer for data engineer roles?
You need to apply in specifically if you're learning about Azure cloud, you need to apply in the Azure data engineer role, which will be easy for you
Okay,
because you're
yeah, yeah.
learning those tools and technology, right?
Okay, that's
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So you need to apply those roles only for now. But whenever you want, you can switch. That you can do. So suppose if I want to learn AWS as a perspective for data engineer, it will be easy for me because I know the things conceptually.
Okay,
And few people hire me as well. Suppose if I now go to the AWS cloud, right? So
mm-hmm.
they can hire me as well. Like my chances of getting hired as a Azure data engineer is more, but I can be hired as a like as AWS data engineer as well. That can be the possibility, and few people does that as well. In Amazon as well, people work for 7 year in Microsoft and then they go and work for Amazon as well. That happens.
Okay, okay. And who are, I mean, what are the tools of who is the competitor of Azure in regarding data engineering? Like here is Data Factory, Databricks, Synopsys,
One
and
second,
who are
I forgot the tool name. One second.
okay, okay. No problem. No, no, that is not
Yeah, yeah.
important.
So okay, fine. So you can just Google it. You will get
Okay, okay, okay,
the tools.
okay.
Okay. So
I'm
but for the storage account, we have S3 bucket over there. For data
yes.
factory, we have a tool which I am not able to remember it. But okay, fine. Let's move forward. Uh, Yeah, so I will say this. So I'm muting you. Just unmute yourself if you have any question. Okay, fine. So on Monday, what we have done, Monday we understood how to make a blob storage, how to make a data factory, right? And I requested you guys to install a SSMS and like SQL Server on premise and your MySQL Community Edition, right? I requested you guys to install it, right? So we have this now. We have a source. Let me open Paint. So basically what we are targeting, we want to move the data from one place to another using data factory. Using data factory. We want to move data from one place to another using data factory, right? And for us right now, this point can be on-premise server, or it can be cloud as well, right? And this can be anything, right? This can be anything. It can be cloud, it can be on-premise server again. But whenever we are moving the data using data factory from one place, point A to point B, data factory needs a connection of point A, data factory needs a connection of point B, then only data factory can move the data from point A to point B, right? Very simple. So if you want to move your luggage from point A to point B, from suppose Mumbai to Bangalore, you need a Bangalore address and you need a Mumbai address as well, then only the luggage can be transferred, right? Simple. So now we will understand how that connection can be made and how data factory can reach out to point A and how data factory can reach out to point B. That is what we'll learn now, right? And for that, we have a very, very important concept from the interview perspective and also conceptually, right? But it is a favorite interview question for every interviewer, that what is the integration runtime and what is the link service, right? Okay. So I will try to elaborate the integration runtime first and link service first. Okay. So what are the interview question can be asked, that what is integration runtime, what is link service, how you have made connection to your source to move the data. This kind of a question can be asked, and we will try to understand this today. Okay. So what is integration runtime? There are three types of integration runtime: Azure default integration runtime, self-hosted integration runtime, and SSIS. Okay, these are the three integration runtime. Now, what is Azure default integration runtime and why we are calling it as a default integration runtime? Because when we make a Azure space, when you make a data factory, when you make a data factory, when I go to the manage tab, when I go to integration runtime, here this integration runtime you are able to see, right? So when you make your data factory for the first time as well, you will be able to see this. Okay. So this integration runtime is provided by Microsoft and also managed by Microsoft. Okay. So you don't need to take care of this integration runtime. It is given to you. And this integration runtime will be used to connect with any of the cloud source. Okay. To connect with any of the cloud source, not necessarily Azure cloud. If you want to connect with AWS cloud, if you want to connect with GCP cloud, right? This integration runtime can be used. So Azure default integration runtime will be used to connect with any of the cloud service. Okay. What is self-hosted integration runtime? This integration runtime will be managed by you. You will manage it. And this integration runtime will be used to connect with any of the on-premise service which is not in the cloud, right? So suppose this integration runtime we will use to connect with any of the cloud service. Second integration runtime will be used to connect with any data source which is not there in the cloud, right? Which is on-premise. Okay. So suppose if I want to connect with my own computer or Siddheshwar computer or Narayan computer, so for that I need a self-hosted integration runtime, right? And what is a SSIS? This integration runtime will be used to import SSIS packages. I haven't used this, but like this SSIS is a on-premise ETL tool offered by Microsoft, but now like they upgraded it and they made a cloud data factory. So it's generally being used to import SSIS packages. So from the definition wise, you should know about it, but like mainly this two integration runtime is important. This is what we will see today. Okay. Now, yeah, we understood this Azure default integration runtime will be used to connect with any of the cloud service. This particular self-hosted integration runtime will be used to connect with any of the data source which is not there in the cloud, which is on-premise. Okay. Now, this particular integration runtime I have showed you, auto resolve integration runtime or Azure default integration runtime. Now I will show you this self-hosted integration runtime. So now suppose I want to connect with my own computer. So we have installed on-premise MS SQL, or I have given you a homework to basically install a MySQL on-premise, right? So now if you want to connect with your MySQL on-premise, so suppose here you have installed MS SQL, or here you have installed MySQL, for example, and you want to connect with this servers. Okay, so for that, what you need to do, you first need to install a software here, and this software will be self-hosted integration runtime. So we will basically install this software in the server, in the server, like we will install the software in that server in which we basically want to move from which we want to move the data. Okay, in that server we'll install the self-hosted integration runtime. So suppose I have installed this particular, I want to move the data from my C drive, for example, right? From my C drive I want to move the data. In that case, I will install this self-hosted integration runtime in my computer. Or suppose if I have my MS SQL in my computer, then I will install a self-hosted integration runtime in my computer. But suppose now Narayan says that Abhishek move the data from my computer, then I will install a self-hosted integration runtime in his computer. Why? Because my data factory will interact with self-hosted integration runtime only, right? So now suppose I want to move the
Abhishek,
yes.
you mean that software works as a interface between the
Data
cloud and
factory and
on-premise
the yes
and
data
and that
factory and the server in the server.
and it is a must to install in the on-premises server, right?
Yes, if you want to move the data from that server.
Okay,
Yes.
and who will do that? I mean, we or the admin guy already?
The person who is taking care of that server.
Okay. Good.
So we will communicate with him. We will
Mhm.
discuss him. We will discuss with him. We will show them this is the software we need in your premise, and then we will assist them, but they will install it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so now how to do it? We will go here, we will go to integration runtime, we will click over here, we will click to self-hosted integration runtime, we'll click continue. Click to self-hosted integration runtime. We will click continue. I will write suppose Abhishek PC. Okay. Then create it. And then I will click here. This is by default link, right? But suppose Siddheswar says that Abhishek move the data from not from your computer, from my computer. So I will tell Siddheswar that, hey Siddheswar, you install this software in your own computer, copy this link, go to WhatsApp, send him this link, and then he can basically install it. And after he install it, I will give this key because he installed the software, right? Now this is my data factory. So I need to give him a key so that it's basically authenticated, right? So I will go here, I will go to download, I will click here and I will download. Okay, so I'm not downloading it right now because my computer hangs whenever it, so my computer is not so good, like my memory, my computer's memory is not so good, so that is why I'm not downloading here, but I will just show you the process. So here what we are doing, we are installing integration runtime in this corporate firewall. And data factory will basically use this integration runtime to communicate with this on-premise, right? Data factory will communicate with this, and then this software will communicate with your on-premise server. We completed all of this. Now we came here. Now once this installer will run, right? Once this installer will run, you will see this kind of an interface, okay? And for that, what you need to do, you need to copy this key and then paste the key in the installer and click register. Once you click register, then you will see this will be available after that once you register it, right? In that way, you will be able to make a connection of data factory with that server, okay, with that server. And now once you make a connection with that server, data factory can communicate with this software, right? But suppose one more thing comes after that. This software wants to log into this, right? But this software cannot log into this. Why? Because we still haven't mentioned anywhere the username and password of this server, right? So, and also we haven't mentioned, so suppose data factory is able to communicate with this, but when data factory wants the data factory also need to mention that which data to pick in, right? So from which data source I need the data. So we haven't mentioned any sort of those details. So we just said that we want the connection to this server, but which data you want to pick or what is the ID and password of that data, those kind of a thing we haven't mentioned, right? And for that we need a link service. So we'll go over here. Now I will click to link service. Now suppose if you want to move the data from MySQL, you will type MySQL here. If you want to move the data from MS SQL, you type MS SQL here. SQL Server here. Okay, now if you want to move the data from your own computer, you type file system here, right? And now suppose I want to move the data from data lake, my own data lake. So I will type data lake here, right? Now my data lake is like this, right? So I will show you. This is my data lake. Okay, and here I will mention auto resolve integration runtime only, right? Auto resolve integration runtime, which is a cloud integration runtime, right? Because this is cloud, right? And then here I will select my storage account. This is my storage account and test connection. Connection made, created. Okay. So yeah, so this is how I create a link service. Now suppose if you want to create a link service for your MySQL, for example. So you type MySQL here. Then here you will select that integration runtime which you have installed. Give the server name, port name, database name, username, password, and then click connect over here. Then you can create a connection. After you create a connection, so here you will mention all the details: username, password, server name, database name, everything we will mention here. And then you create a connection, right? So yeah, so this particular step you can follow. Okay, very easy to follow. If you're not able to follow, we'll look into it tomorrow if you can complete it, right? Now this is integration runtime and this is link service, right? So how many types of integration runtimes are there? Three: self-hosted, default, SSIS. Default will be used to connect with cloud service. Self-hosted will be used to connect with on-premise servers. SSIS is to import SSIS packages. Then after we make a integration runtime, we make a link service. Whatever data source we want to connect, we will go there, and then accordingly we will, suppose if I want to move the data from Narayan computer and also Siddheswar computer, right? For example, so I will create two integration runtime for both of the computers. So integration runtime server wise, okay? So one server, one integration runtime. Now after that here, if Narayan has MS SQL, so I will go here, I will go to link service. Sorry, I will go here and suppose Narayan has MS SQL, for example, right? So here I will type SQL Server, and then here I will select Narayan's PC. Okay, Narayan PC, not my Siddheswar PC, Narayan PC. So accordingly, I will select the integration runtime and then make a connection. Any doubt on this, guys? Very important to understand. If you have understood it, please let me know. If not, then also please let me know. Any doubt on this very important concept?
Abhishek, I think there are four type of integration services or three. I mean, one is the default one, and below one, I mean, I just don't remember what are.
Self-hosted integration runtime, default integration runtime, and
Uh-huh.
SSIS.
Uh, can you show that picture again? Uh, Default integration. Okay. Got it. Okay. And one more question. I mean, every computer from where we need our data, that should install that integration services, right? The
Yes.
link. And for every system, we have one linked service.
For every database.
Every database. I mean, if we have 5 different systems to interact, then I have 5 linked service, right?
5 integration runtime, and in that system if you have
Link.
two database, so you will have uh, two link service. Okay, I will try to ask question that will be more clear for you guys. Okay, so any question, so I will try to ask some question which will make things more clear. So let's answer this now. So suppose if I have server 1, server 2, server 3. Now this, just to make it more realistic, suppose if I have Narayan computer and suppose I have Abhishek's PC, and then third is suppose Ruchita PC, right? And also somebody from our class who created, suppose Deepak Dev has created a data factory, right? He created a data factory. They created a data factory. And now Dev has a storage account as well, right? He created a storage account as well in the cloud. Okay. Also, uh, like I have over here, Narayan has MySQL, MS SQL, Abhishek has file system like C drive. Ruchita wants to move the data from suppose PostgreSQL, for example. Okay, and I created a storage account as well. I do have a storage account as well, right? So I do have a data in suppose storage account, a different storage account, for example, right? I do have my own subscription, my own storage account. Now they've got a task to move the data, every data over here in this storage account, right? And why he wants to do it? Because suppose Narayan, Abhishek, and Ruchita are like all of these guys are helping Dev for some sort of business. Okay, Dev has a business, and everybody just helping him as a friend for his business. And we have some sales data, okay, in our computer. Now they've said that I basically wants to understand what is my total sales. Okay, I want because currently year end is coming and I want to file my ITR, and for that I want to aggregate my sales for whole year. So now in that case, Dev needs to aggregate. Dev needs to combine the data, right? So basically, he created a storage account and told, and then he said that I want to move the data from all of your guys, and then I will aggregate my data. That is what he wants to do. Now my question is how to approach about it and how many integration runtime link service is required for this particular case, right? So now think about it for 2 minutes, okay? And then I will ask from everyone one by one, and then you guys answer it, and then we'll conclude. Okay, so think about it for 2 minutes. I'm just coming. I will go and come. Just think about it 2 minutes, and then we'll start. Okay.
Abhishek, is it Gen 2 or Data Lake storage account?
I think this is Gen 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. Is question is clear, guys, for everyone?
Abhishek, is it the storage account is Gen 2 or blob storage?
Anything. It doesn't matter. Answer it doesn't depend on it's Gen 2 or a blob storage, but you can consider anything. That's not important for this question at least. Because the process will be same. Either it will be Gen 2 or a blob storage. Okay, guys. So let's start one by one. Deepak, would you like to give this answer as you are tackling this?
Yeah, sure. We need 4 integration runtimes and 5 link service.
Can you name like how we decided that? Can you tell me?
Yeah, integration runtime for server 1, Narayan PC, Abhishek PC, and server 3, Ruchita PC. And these 3 will be self-hosted integration runtimes. And for storage account, it will be the Azure integration runtime. So total we need 4 integration runtime. And for each link service, like each connection that MySQL, MS SQL, file system, Postgres, and storage account, we will need 1 link service. So 4 integration runtimes and 5 link service.
Okay, yeah. Okay, fine, understood.
And if we want to place it in the storage account, we will need one more link service. I think like 6 link service in total.
Yeah, okay, understood. So everybody agrees with his answer, or somebody has a different opinion?
I think there will be 3 integration services and 4 link services,
And why you're saying that?
because for every server there will be one integration service, right? For which I mean through which the ADF will communicate to the server, right? And okay, and for every database or file system, one link service will be
See,
created.
one integration runtime for this,
Yes,
right? One integration runtime for this,
yes,
right?
right,
One integration runtime for this,
yes.
and same integration runtime for Abhishek storage account and Dev storage account, right?
Okay, give me a second. You mean
Auto resolved integration runtime, because both are cloud,
okay.
right?
For cloud
And
also we need that integration
auto
runtime.
resolved integration runtime, right? I explained just now. Auto resolved integration runtime, default integration runtime, which is already present, and I created a storage
Okay. Yes.
link service using that.
Hmm.
Okay, and then after that we need basically after that we need link service. So first link, second link, third link, fourth link, fifth link, and sixth link. 6 link service and 4 integration runtime. Okay, so Dev, you have missed this one, but yeah, it's okay, no problem. So is it clear for everyone, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how many servers, that many integration runtime, how many databases, that many link service. Simple, right? Okay. Now, with the interview perspective, it's very, very important. So please remember the integration runtime name. How many types of integration runtimes are there? There are 3 kinds of integration runtime: self-hosted integration runtime, Azure default integration runtime, which we call it as an auto-resolved integration runtime, and SSIS integration runtime. What is link service? What is integration runtime? What is the difference between link service and what is the difference between link service and integration runtime? So integration runtime is being used to connect with a server. Link service carries all the details of the server. What is the username and password? That is the authentication basically. So integration runtime is a bridge between your server and data factory. Link service is just a access ID and password to just access that bridge, right? In a simple word. And yeah, so and if somebody can also ask you that how basically you connected with different data sources, right? So this should be your answer. So first is integration runtime, second is link service, right? Now what we will do, now let's do a simple operation. Integration runtime, link service is done. Now I will come here. Now let's understand this window. Okay, so first I will try to create a simple copy data activity. Okay, so I will create a new pipeline, and in new pipeline what I will try to do, I will try to perform a very simple activity, which is a copying the data from one place to another. Okay, so from input, suppose from input, this data ideally will come from the on-premise server, right? But right now we will just, it's already there in the data lake Gen 2, so I'm trying to move it. You can also upload it if you want, so you can come here and upload few of the data set for just for the practice, right? So here what I will do now, I am making a simple copy data activity. So I will paste a copy data activity. What I want to do, I want to copy the data from input folder to my landing folder or to my output folder, for example, right?
Abhishek, can you do the exercise for the on-premises to here also?
Yeah, you can do it. Same thing you need to do. You can try it. So what you can do is you can make a link service for your on-premise server, and then you try it. So so let me elaborate this, and then it will be clear how you can do it for on-premise as well. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so what I will do, I will try to move the data from this input container to my output container. So I will paste a copy data activity. And then I will go to source and sync. Okay, so what is my source? Source is my data lake. Data lake, I will type data lake gen 2 here, select it, go to CSV file, select it. Then I will select my link service. Okay, and then I will give my source data set. Now, what is data set? Data set is basic. So suppose first we reached out to a server. First, we reached out to a server that ADF is able to connect with that server. Then server connected with this particular database, but you still haven't told data factory which data you want to move, right? So for that, you have a data set. Data set is a reference point of where your data is located and which data you want to move. So here, now here we will mention which data we want to pick in. Okay, so here we'll mention it. Now I can access everything. So same thing you can do in the MS SQL as well. Once you make a link service for SQL Server, you will be able to pick the data which you want to move. Okay. And then import first row as a header, import schema as none. For now, we will select this always. Okay, so first row as a header means your first row of that sheet is a header. So for now, we will select first row as a header, import schema as none. I will later on describe this import schema none and when to select different option that I will describe going forward. But for now, always select none. And then first row as a header, you can, like, if you don't select as a header, it will just not consider your first row as a header, right? Simple. Now I will click OK. Click sync. I will describe everything in very detailed fashion. So just bear with me, right? So what is pipeline, what is data set, what is activity, everything I will describe. But for now, I just want to show you just to get a feel of it, how to make a copy. Okay. Data lake gen 2 CSV file, sync, link service, output, and then suppose here output container is not there, right? Output container is not there, but it will create it and then move. Okay, so don't worry about it. So I will again put department dot CSV. First row as header, import schema as none. Okay, click OK. Now I will debug it. Debug means we are checking whether our pipeline is functioning or not. I will try to describe this as well. What is debug? Succeeded. Now let's go here. I will refresh this. Output. Our file came, right? It got moved. And now let's understand. So here, if you see, we created one pipeline, two data set, one activity. So in data factory, three things are very, very important. Your pipeline, your data set, your activity. Okay. What is data set? Data set is a reference point of where your data is located and which data you want to move. Does it actually, like, sometimes you get a feel that my data is being copied here. Okay, so suppose my data is coming here and data is being stored here, right? You get a feel in the beginning. I used to get this feel, but data set is nothing but just a pointer and nothing else, right? So your data is not being stored in the data factory. It's just a pointer. It's just telling you that which data you want to pick and where you want to move, right? And data factory is just going to that location, taking that data. So what data factory is doing? Data factory in here, you have mentioned that go to this point and take the data and move the data to this point. Okay, that is what data factory is doing. So data set is a reference point of where your data is located. Pipeline is a overall agenda, what you want to fill in. Okay, suppose your pipeline for this particular diagram, for this diagram, we will create one pipeline. Sorry, we will create one pipeline for this. Everything source to blob, blob to Databricks, blob to Synapse, and we will use multiple activities. Okay, so there are many activities here, which we will go through. Okay, so pipeline, data set, and activity. Okay, now if I click to the white space over here, this is a pipeline setting. Everything, whatever is here is the pipeline setting. If I click over here, this is a dataset setting. Everything which is present here is a dataset setting. Sorry, everything which is present here is the activity setting. Okay. Now, if you open this, this is a dataset setting. So there are two datasets. This is a pipeline. If you click over here, this is a pipeline setting. If you click over here, this is a copy data activity setting. If you open this, this is the dataset setting. Right now, debug means to test whether my pipeline is functioning fine or not. Okay, validate means to check whether my settings are proper. So suppose if I delete it over here, right, and if I validate, it will show error. It's showing that you don't have any source. So validate, first we'll validate and then we can just debug. Okay, so validate means to validate and debug is to run. Okay, now if you don't publish your pipeline and if you open it in the, suppose if I don't publish, right, if I don't publish it, then my all the changes will be gone. Okay, so to save your work you need to publish, otherwise your changes will be gone, right? So suppose if I just publish it, then only I will save my work, otherwise it won't be saved.
And where that saved work I can see?
Yeah, you will see now. So it's published completed, right? Now you can, once you refresh this window, you will see this. But suppose if I just clone it, right, for example, and then I haven't published it, but if I just close this window, right, suppose I close this window by mistake, and if I open my data factory again, that will be gone. So to save your work, it's important to publish. And I will tell you the other way of doing it as well. Like I will tell you how you can integrate Git and also do that. Okay, so that I will tell you going forward. But suppose you by mistake closed it and then you open it again, then that particular data pipeline you will not see. So it's very important you publish your pipeline if Git is not integrated. Okay. So in the past, when I was beginner in this Azure, I worked for one complete day and then I forgot to just like I forgot to just plug in this charger and then it got removed. So all of my work is gone. So it's very important you integrate with Git and also save your work. Okay, we will see it how we can integrate it. So see that particular clone is not coming right now, right? How to rename the pipeline? You can click over here and rename it, right? And then how to rename your copy data activity? You can click over here, rename it. Okay, you can click over here as well and then also rename your pipeline. Okay, any doubt here, guys? What is data set? What is pipeline? What is activity? I will try to open one more window which will basically describe it in a better way. Okay, so now we have so there are three kinds of activity. What are those? So generally here you will see many kinds of activity, right? Copy data activity, Databricks, data flow activity, Databricks activity. Okay, and then you will see many activities here, right? So generally there are three, like mainly there are three kinds of activity. Okay, data movement activity, data transformation activity, and control flow activity. In data movement activity, we have a copy data activity. Okay, that's all. Very important activity. Okay, most important activity. What copy data activity means, which helps you to move the data from one point to another. Okay, and these are the source and sink supported. Okay, so it's not like data factory can move the data from any kind of a source to any kind of a sink. It's not there. Okay, so suppose if you want to move the data from MySQL to your cloud, MySQL to cloud, that is possible. That is possible. Okay, 1 second. Here I will go and click open. And I will select data lake over here, right? But if I want to move the data from data lake to MySQL, it's not possible. So here if I put if I give data lake and then here I will give
ये मध्य घोटाला.
1 second, Siddheshwar, please mute yourself. Okay, so here if I go to data lake over here, if I go to data lake over here, and then in the sink, if I give MySQL, then I'm not able to see MySQL, right? So all the connectors are not possible. Okay, so some Azure has tried to basically give all the connectors, but and they are also upgrading this particular document. Okay, so sometimes you can come here and check what are the connectors are available, but it's not like it cannot be done. So by exposing your data with the API, you can still copy, but connector is not there. What I mean by connector, you won't be able to just go to the interface and copy. So suppose here I can go to the interface and select the data, right? Browse the data, select it. That you won't be able to do, but you can anyways by some workaround you can do it, okay, but not easily do it. So this is the data movement activity, and then we have a data transformation activity, which is like your data transformation activities are the activity which helps you to transform the data. Transform means some sort of like join, filter, like data transform means you are trying to transform the data, right? So change the data. What is control flow activity? Control flow activity is the activity which provides any logical operation. Means suppose I am copying one data, but I want to copy like 10 data set. So then you will give a for each loop here. And inside the for each loop, you will paste a copy data activity, right? You will paste, copy, paste, cut, paste the copy data activity. So that is a logical operation. So here control flow activity are the activity in which you try to apply some sort of logical operations. There are 3 kinds of activity: data movement, data transformation, control flow. This is also an interview question. What is control flow activity? Okay. So data movement, you can remember it. Data transformation, you can remember it, but control flow, you might forget it. So it's like a logical operation, lookup activity, get metadata activity, for each activity, all of that. Any confusion till here, guys?
Can you show where did you create the link service in this window? Okay.
And suppose if you don't create it over there, and if you want to create directly from the pipeline, that also can be done. But link service is a one-time process. Okay, so it's not like every time whenever you're creating a pipeline, you need to create a link service. Create the connection once and use it. So suppose you save your address once, right? And then you just use that address again and again. So it's just like that. You don't need to create the connection again and again. Okay. So here, if you created a connection once, then you can use it, or you want to create a connection again from here, that also can be done. But it's a
Okay.
one-time process. It's a one-time process. Okay.
Will you be showing us how to do that sync into a database, like using API? Like, will you be showing that as well?
Using API, I will not show, but I will show how to hit a API. That I will show going forward.
Okay.
So now what I suggest you guys to do, I want to teach about copy data activity in a detailed fashion, but better I teach it once you make this. So the homework of the next class for you guys will be make a link service. First make a link service for blob storage, and then make a link service for data lake Gen 2. Then install as self-hosted integration runtime in your computer, and then fourth is make link service for MS SQL and MySQL, which you have installed, and then copy the data from input to output container, of data lake. Okay, and then same thing, do it for do it for data lake to blob. In that case, in the sink you will choose blob. So the process is very simple. So here you will go and here you will click new, choose blob, select blob, and then make a link service for blob itself, right? So and then 7th is copy the data from MS SQL to data lake. Right, so try to do all of this and then we will meet tomorrow. Can we meet tomorrow at 10 p.m? Is that fine for you guys? Okay, I will paste the homework in the chat. Okay. Is that fine if we meet tomorrow 10 p.m, guys? Okay, I think nobody is saying no, so it's fine for everyone. So let's meet tomorrow 10 p.m. instead of 9:30. See you guys. Bye. If you have any question, I'm still here. Or else, thank you for your time. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, Abhishek, do you have any batches in weekend or any other time? Like, because usually have calls during this window, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay, so I will call you, Deepak, and then we'll discuss it. Okay.
Okay.